Thank you, everybody. Thank you, and congratulations on getting in, because you got thousands of people outside, and you got lucky. Would anybody like to give up their location to somebody outside? No? Okay, I figured. I wouldn't do it either. But I want to thank the great, he really is one and only, Dana White, and I want to say a big hello to Las Vegas. You know, Dana had the most successful fight in history the other night at the White House. We had the White House as a little backdrop, and there were some of the greatest fights anyone's ever seen. You saw Justin Gaethje. You saw some of those fights. Every one of them was incredible. But it was the thrill of the White House. It was the whole thing. It was just, I don't think it will ever be duplicated again. It was the most successful fight, they say, ever. Although I think Mike Tyson, he's here someplace, he had some pretty damn good ones. So I better be careful. He might have topped us once or twice, Iron Mike. But I'm thrilled to be back in the great state of Nevada, where thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots are just doing their thing. But before we begin, I want to send our love and heartfelt prayers to the family and loved ones of the brave, I hear he was an incredible young man, Las Vegas police officer, Austin, Abdel Nabi, a lot of you knew him, who was shot and killed in the line of duty yesterday afternoon. It was a big deal, a big story, and it should be a big story. And gunned down by a savage criminal at just 30 years old. And Austin died a hero, and he will never be forgotten, never going to be forgotten. So to every law enforcement officer here today, we thank you for your service, and we say God bless the men and women of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department and, frankly, all of law enforcement. With the help of so many Nevada patriots here today, we have a lot of them. In 2024, we won the state in a landslide. It was a big, beautiful, well, no tax on tips didn't hurt, did it? Remember I said it, and by the way, I said it and I got it done. You know, a lot of people say it, they don't get it done. But I remember I said it, then about a month and a half, 2 months later, she came out and she said, that's Kamala, because by this time Biden was gone. He went bye-bye. And Kamala came out, she said, no tax on tips. What does that mean? She didn't know what it meant. And people cast her aside. They didn't believe it. She was a little late. She was a little bit late. But right now, it's one of the best things. I mean, it's one of the greatest things. People are making a lot of money, no tax on tips, and it's great. And the best thing, and the thing I'm most proud of, because a lot of people would say it's a little bit, tends to be a Democrat state, but not when I'm running, because we had more votes than any candidate in the history of Nevada. Actually, by far. By far. So every day since, I've been fighting for the people of Nevada like no president has ever fought before, and the people of our country. When we took office, we inherited a total catastrophe. Biden and the radical left, Democrats, I call them Democrats because their policies are so dumb. You exchange the E with a U, and nobody knows that dumb doesn't have a B. Democrats. I can't imagine I didn't think about that 10 years ago when I started this whole situation. But the Democrats created the worst inflation in 48 years. They had the worst inflation. I inherited those high prices, just so you understand. I inherited them. Wide open borders with millions of people pouring in from all over the globe, from drug dealers and people in prison. They opened up their prisons from all over the world, including from the world's worst prisons, mental institutions, insane asylums. We had transgender for everybody. We had men playing in women's sports. How's that one? We had a big win on that, as you know, in the Supreme Court. Crime was ravaging our cities, and the whole world was laughing at us. But they're not laughing anymore. They're not laughing anymore. They don't laugh. They don't laugh anymore. We had a president that nobody respected. Nobody thought anything about him. Everybody took advantage of him. Everybody took advantage of him. It was sad, actually, including his own family took advantage of him. But America's respected again like we have never been respected before. We've never been respected at this level before. And less than 2 years ago, and you've heard this said, this was said by the King of Saudi Arabia, he told me, a year ago. That time the dates were a little different, but the statement was the same. He said, President, a year ago, your country was dead. It was a dead country. We never thought it was coming back. And now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. It's true. The hottest country. And I'm not getting credit from the fake news for what I've done. I never have gotten credit. I don't get credit. Dana, I don't get any credit for anything. Everything I do, even prescription drug prices, where they're down 400, 500, 600, think of it, 600%. Favored nations. We had the highest prices in the world, and now we have the lowest prices. The press won't write about it. They don't give me any credit. But look at the bright side. I'm president, so you gave me credit, right? You gave me. Like, you know, you had a big election last night, and a lot of people running, and I endorsed a lot of candidates. And the end result, I was 28 wins and 1 loss. It was a little bit of a person that I thought was a good person. Didn't have much of a chance, but I said, I don't care. I'm doing it anyway. Good person. Very good. Very respected, but nobody knew who the person was. But it was 28 and 1 last night on endorsements, and numerous of them were outliers. You know, an outlier is a person that doesn't have a chance. But if you studied the fake news today, you'd think that it was just the opposite. It was like 1 in 28. No, it was 28 and 1 last night. And I have to be truthful, because if I'm not truthful, look at all the press. I have a lot of press here. Well, this is all on live television. Every word, if you make one little mistake, one little exaggeration, they go after you with... Now, when Biden made mistakes, that's all he did is make mistakes. Nobody ever went after him. But all they talked about was the one, and that's why they call them the fake news. You know, it's just pretty bad. But they really do want to, you take a look at the facts. They don't want to see, they don't want to have you see the facts, because what we've done is really amazing. We will really put it all together like you've never seen, and that's what we've been doing. We put it together at levels that have never been seen in this country before. Just yesterday it was announced that American exports are totally on fire in a positive way. This is a positive fire, not a negative. Sometimes you say, oh, that's too bad, you know. They'll say, that's too bad, it's on fire. It's on fire in a very positive way, and they've skyrocketed exports to the highest level in American history. Think of that, exports. Think of that. Think of what that means. Exports have gone to the highest level in history. That means somebody's doing a good job, because we didn't have good exports. 2 years ago, we didn't have anything like that. We were dead. The United States is on track to export unprecedented $2.5 trillion in goods this year alone, something everyone thought was impossible. Just a number like that was not even thinkable. If I ever said it, I wouldn't have even said it, because even I didn't think we could do that well, but we did. And I want to thank all of the policies and all of the things we put it together between the tariffs that have been the tariffs have made us rich. Remember, I used to say that tariffs are my favorite word. I love tariffs. They're my favorite word in the dictionary. Tariff. I love tariffs, right? Because we've been screwed by tariffs used against us for years by China, by Japan, by South Korea, by Germany, by everybody, by Canada. Canada's nasty. They are. They're nasty. People think Canada, they're nasty. People, I love the people, but they're nasty. Nasty leadership. and Mexico. They all did it to us. But now that doesn't work anymore because we turned the table on everybody, and that's why you're seeing numbers like you've never seen before. This week, as an example, it was announced that manufacturing is exploding at the fastest pace in many years. Nobody thought this would ever happen again. Do you remember, did you ever hear of a man named Barack Hussein Obama? He said, we will never be a manufacturing country again. And he meant it. He meant it. It was pathetic what had happened. Our businesses were stolen by foreign countries. They're all coming back. They're coming roaring back. More automobile factories are being built in the United States right now than at any time in the history of our country. Think of that. We didn't have a plant built for years, and now we have more plants. They're all coming back from Germany, from South Korea, from Japan, from Canada, and from Mexico, from all over. They're coming back because if they don't, they have to pay massive tariffs at the gate. I call them tariffs at the gate. But it is true, I was criticized very badly because I said it was my favorite word. They said, what about God? What about wife, family? What about all of the things that make your life so wonderful? So I moved it to my fifth favorite word, and now, no, the press was, the press was killing me. I'll never forget, I said, terror's my favorite word. I love it. I got killed. But now I say it's number 5. And I'm in good shape. But it's made us rich. It's made us rich. We're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. More importantly, in order to not pay the tariff, all these companies are moving in and building their plants, a lot of them being built in Nevada, a lot of them. And that man right there, Mr. Wall, please stand up. Look at him. He's a rich guy. Could you believe? You know what? He's a rich guy because he must have been to 300 rallies, I think more than that. He's loaded. You had him checked out, a little bit shaky there. I'm saying, what's with that guy with the Wall outfit? I'm going to get one of their, I'm going to wear it one time, I'm telling you. And they checked him out. They said, sir, he's a very rich man. He has to be. He goes to so many rallies. And we do love you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. And our great front row Joes and our great women from North Carolina, they travel all over the place. They're loaded. They're beautiful. I don't know what the hell's going on with their home life, but they travel. They've gone to hundreds of these. But here in Nevada, we've created over 40,000 new jobs and lifted nearly 100,000 Nevadans off of food stamps. Think of it. And they don't want to be on food stamps because they've got new jobs. They've got jobs. They don't need food stamps. Last month, inflation dropped at the fastest rate it's dropped in many years, and more Americans are working today. So the biggest thing for this whole thing, more Americans are working in the United States right now than at any point in the history of our country. Think of that. Think of it. You don't hear that. I saw polls today on television that say, Donald Trump polls on the economy aren't good. The economy is the greatest economy we've ever had by far. The economy aren't good. They're fake polls, just like fake writers. But think of it. And his stance on immigration. Immigration. In 30 days, I stopped millions and millions of people from invading our country. Think of it. Our country was being invaded. 25 million people poured through our southern border, and they came from jails, and they were drug dealers, and they were people from mental institutions. They were mental institutions all over the world, not just South America, all over the world. They opened their doors, they brought them into the southern border, and they released them into our country. We're getting them all out. They're all getting out very fast. They're all getting out very fast. But think of it. Nobody ever thought a thing like this could happen. And in the last 15 months, and these are reports, and you've heard me say this before, It's 14, it's 13, it's 12, depending, but now it's 15 months, right? Not one person has been allowed to come into our country illegally, and that's been done by the Democrats who do the reports. I'm sure they're happy with it. Can't have a country without a border. Can't have a country without a border. And you can't have a country without free and fair elections, too. So we want voter ID, and we want proof of citizenship. But we're rocking, we're rolling. This country is great. What's happening to this country is great. And, you know, ultimately they're not going to be able to stop this because what's happening is too good. But think of that. I got criticized on immigration. When I took over, millions of people were pouring into our country, millions. And they weren't necessarily, I don't want to say it, but they weren't necessarily the people you want, because they did. They came from jails from all over the world. They came from all of these different places. Drug deals, 11,888 murders, 50%, more than 50% of whom created or killed more than 2 people. So think of this. So you had 11,880. That's the number of murders that came in, according to every statistic. And we checked the charts. 11,888 murderers. Many of these people killed more than 1 or 2 people. And do you think they're going to be great citizens or not? They came in totally unchecked, totally unvetted, and our country was a mess. Our country was going down, and now our country is it's strong again, and it's respected. And the stock market has set 74 all-time highs just since our short time that we've been back. You know, we had the greatest economy in the history of our country in my first term. You know that. This is going to blow it away. It already is, I think, but this is blowing it away. 74, the highest stock markets in history. Yesterday went up almost 1,000 points, right? And the typical American 401k is up much more than $30,000 and setting records day after day, week after week. And more money is being invested right now in the United States than at any time in the history of our country. Money is pouring into, they want to invest in the United States. Before, they wanted to de-invest. They wanted their money out. That's what was happening. People were taking their money out. Now they're all putting it in. They love the safety of this country as run properly by us. And it's not me, it's us, because you're the people that built the country, believe me. In 4 long years of sleepy Joe Biden and the very corrupt, and it was the most corrupt administration, they got less than $1 trillion of new investment in our country. So think of this. 4 years, not 1 year, 4 years, less than $1 trillion invested. And it was going down. They would have had de-investment, it's called. In 1 year, so he had 4 years, less than 1. In 1 year, my administration secured commitments of more than $19.2 trillion in new investment from all over the globe. And that's a record that's 5 times greater than any country in history. Think of that. You know, the sad part is, I say this to Dana because he understands, I say it to Fertitta. The brothers, they're smart too. What a beautiful families. Are they loaded? They're loaded. They own this hotel, you know. They own this beautiful hotel, which I'm sure is doing well because everything they have does well. And a guy like Phil Ruffin's here, one of the greatest gamblers in the world, but also one of the greatest businessmen in the world. He made a fortune here, but he made a fortune every place he goes. He just makes money. I don't know. He's a money machine. The great Phil Ruffin. And Alexandra, his much more incredible wife. I'm more impressed by her. But Phil has made a fortune no matter where he went. Everything he touches turns to gold. He's incredible. We have incredible people here. But right here in Nevada, General Motors and Lithium Americas are investing up to $1.6 billion to build the Thacker Pass mine. Many people in this audience are going to be working there, and you are working there. And Forge Industries and others are investing $150 million in manufacturing facilities in north Las Vegas. And we have, in just this small area, you have your governor here today, in just this small, who's running, and will you please win by a big number? Where's our governor? Where's our governor? He's doing a great job. You got to get him. He's in a re-election. I can't believe time flies so fast, Governor. Very importantly for the people of the state, with the help of our Republican majorities in Congress, last year I signed the great, big, beautiful bill giving you the largest tax cuts in American history. You got no tax on tips that Dana was talking about. So if you're a waiter, a waitress, a bartender, a bellhop, a caddy — I love caddies — a valet, a hotel worker, taxi driver in Las Vegas or anywhere else, anywhere, you pay zero taxes on your tipped income. You know, I was having dinner with a group of people, including Ruffin, and we were talking, a lot of people, smart people, and beautiful waitress came over. I'm not allowed to say that today, but I'll say it anyway. She was beautiful. What can I say? She was beautiful. In my place, steak, good steak, by the way. So we're eating, and this beautiful young lady walks over, and I said, "How you doing? Everything good?" "Sir, they're taxing me to death." I said, "Really? What are they taxing? They're taxing my tips." "Sir, they should have no tax on tips." I said, "Say it again. Say those words again." "Sir, they should have no tax on tips." I said, boy, that got me. I think that, Governor, I think that might have got me this massive victory that we had in this state. And I went out, and we had those people. See all those people back there, the fake news? And in the middle of my meal, I gathered them together right out the door to the steakhouse. And I said, "Are you ready to go?" "Yes, yes, sir, we're ready." The cameras. "We will have no tax on tips." And it became an overnight sensation. That's how it happened, actually. That's how she was my consultant. She did a better job than, you know, you hire these people, you pay them millions of dollars, they don't come up with crap. Takes a waitress from Las Vegas to give us some good ideas. And then we also gave you something that some of you are, especially if you're in the construction stuff, that I love. No tax on overtime. You know, last week, I'm building this big military complex, including a lot of different things, and some of the things I can't even talk about, although it's become very public, because like usual, everything I do, they get sued, but I win the suits. I think I've been sued more times than any human being in history. But it's unbelievable what's happening. It's a tremendous military complex, and for 150 years at the White House, we don't have a ballroom. We don't have a big space. You can seat like 80, 90 people. So we're building a ballroom that everybody's going to be the most beautiful ballroom. I don't care, Fertitta, what your ballroom is. Is this your ballroom? I'm telling you, Fertitta, that's going to be nice, sir. Much nice. But this is very nice. I want to be nice. But I'm building they wanted it for 150 years. And I was out, and they're really moving along. We're ahead of schedule. And it was a Sunday morning. They should be in church, so I don't want to get them in trouble. But there were a lot of men working on Sunday. There were a lot of men working late into the night. They work until 12 in the evening. They go till 12 in the evening. And this one morning, I went over and gathered a group of about 150 people, guys, some women, good workers, great people. And I said, "You got to love me, because you're making all this overtime working on Saturdays and Sundays and late. And there's no tax on overtime. Did everybody vote for me?" And they all said, "Yeah, I voted." No, you know what that is? A lot of people, the tax on overtime was so great they didn't even want to do it. Now they love doing it. There's a lot of work going on overtime. No tax on overtime. And then You maybe have the granddaddy of them all. No tax on Social Security for our great seniors. Right? And we made interest on car loans tax deductible, but only if the car's made in America. That's, you know, people that are, let's call middle income, successful, but they never had, like Fertitta, they never had the advantage, or Phil Ruffin, they never had the advantage of a thing called deductions, right? A lot of rich people live on the word deduction. They've never had it. We give, so you buy a car, you borrow money, and you're now allowed to deduct for income tax purposes. You're allowed to deduct the interest that you're paying on the loan. Nobody ever thought it. That was my baby. And it's, but only if the car's made here. If the car's made outside, we don't care about it. Yeah, we don't care. We don't want you to buy cars not made in it. We want to be made in America. Beautiful term. It's back. It's back. This past filing season, 440,000 tipped workers right here in Nevada saved an average of $10,000 on their taxes. Think of that. Just on the no tax on tips. So that means every worker saved, this is put out by the government, check it out. I always say that because they always try and get me. They say, oh, it wasn't 10,000. It was 9,912. Think of it, every worker made $10,000 more money. That's all because of the fact that I said I was going to do it, and I got it done. We got it done. The Republican Party got it done. And the Democrats will terminate it if they ever take office. They will terminate that. They were able to do that. We can't let that happen. 150,000 Nevada workers saved an average of more than $3,000 thanks to the no tax on overtime. So that's 10,000, 3,000. And 500,000 Nevada seniors, I didn't know you had that many seniors here, paid $0 on their Social Security benefits thanks to no tax on Social Security. It's a lot of money. But while the Trump administration and our allies in Congress really do, the Republican Party, they've done a great job. That bill is the greatest bill. I think it's one of the most impactful bills ever. You know, and it was supposed to be 17 different bills. And they said, I don't think we can, these are lunatics we're dealing with, the Democrats. I said, I don't think we'll ever get that many. Let's put everything into one. That's how we call it. It's actually called the one big, but I call it the great big because I like that term better. I named it the one big, and then I said, why didn't I call it the great big? But I use it all the time, great big. But that was all in the great big, beautiful bill. Governor, nobody thought we were going to get that passed. Everything was put in there for 4 years. I mean, it's basically, and now we're asking for more because, you know, we're greedy. Now we're asking for a lot of other things. A lot of other things are in the hopper. A lot of other good things, not bad things, good things for you. But in Congress, we're working every day to defend the American dream for you and your children. The radical left, the maniacs, they're trying to destroy it with the disaster known as not socialism, communism. It's communism. These are communists. And the polls were wrong again last night when they thought it would be a landslide victory for a hater of Jews and a hater of Israel. This guy hates Jews. Somebody said, oh, that's a little strong. No, he hates Jews and he hates Israel. Abdul El-Sayed. Can you believe this? This could only happen to me. Abdul El-Sayed, lovely gentleman. He's a man of hate. And now he's going around saying, no, I love everybody. He doesn't love everybody. Put him in office. You're going to find out what he loves. He doesn't love Israel. He doesn't love Jewish people. He hates them. He hates them with a passion that burns in his heart, and there's not a frickin' thing he can do about it. There's not a thing he can do about it because he hates them. And in Michigan, it was really very close. There's press, you know, the polls and the polls by the press. Oftentimes, the press hires the polls. They want to have it a certain way, but the polls got it really wrong because it was supposed to be a blowaway. And he almost lost. But he's going to lose to our great candidate. We have a great candidate in Michigan. Great candidate. But the socialist candidate ran up big margins against the communist candidate in Detroit, and I was saying that probably it's corrupt. You know, it's probably corrupt. I don't know who the hell they wanted. I couldn't care less. We do better. Actually, we do better against the communists, according to every poll. The poll says we do better against the communists. So he won, and so I think I'm happy. I put out a statement. Congratulations to the Republican Party. The communists want to take their ruinous and deadly ideology of misery and squalor to every state in America, but we're not going to let them. And I will say this, one of the things that I have seen with communism throughout the world, I see a lot of different places being president. I see a lot of results, too, a lot of bad results when you have the wrong people and the wrong ideology. But one of the things I see, and you see it here in the blue states run by Democrats, everything's filthy dirty all the time. The cities stink, they smell. The sidewalks are loaded with horrible stuff. I don't want to use the term because my wife will get she hates it when I use the term. I use it, but she doesn't love it. She hates it when I imitate no men and women's sports. She hates it when I do the weightlifting. She said, it's not presidential. I said, well, it may not be presidential, but I won the election in a landslide, so I don't know. Right? We won it. Really. Well, she's very elegant, you know. Melania says hello to everybody, by the way. But she's very, very elegant. She did a movie. I think it's the #1 movie of the year. Can you believe it? But she's very elegant. She hates, as an example, at the end, we're finished. There's a lot of love in the room. Look, what's not to be loved? We have great borders. Our military is the greatest in the world, the strongest. We inherited a terrible mess. I inherited a mess from Obama, and I inherited, frankly, I rebuilt the military. But a lot of our military was badly jeopardized by Sleepy Joe Biden. I mean, they gave everything. They gave so much away. $350 billion, I would say, is a lot of money. Even for Dana White, that's a lot of money, you know? Gave away 350. I sell everything. They were willing to pay. It's the Europeans. They have plenty of money. They don't have a good military because they've relied on us too long. They can't. I told them you can't do that, NATO. But their military said, we will send you things, but you got to pay for them. They said, okay. Now, Biden could have said the same thing. He gave everything for free, and it really messed things up. But fortunately, we have it so strong, and we've been building like never before. And it's all made in America. You know, it's all made. A lot of it's made right here. But on the communists, just listen to the official platform of the deranged communists. And these are the people running, and they're trying to run as a big danger to our country, whose agenda is now being championed by the Democrat members of the United States Congress. They have officially endorsed defunding the police, defunding the United States military, abolishing and giving up prisons. They do not want prisons, because nobody deserves to be in prison, even a person that's killed 10 people. Abolishing ICE. They don't want ICE. ICE are among our greatest patriots. Remember that. And these guys, what they do, when they have to get Tren de Aragua from Venezuela. But now I love Venezuela. You know, I love it. We're doing great at Venezuela. We're taking a lot of oil from Venezuela, and we're getting along great with them. Billions and billions of barrels of oil is coming out of Venezuela. It's one of the most fertile places for oil in the world. And as you know, it was a 48-minute war, lasted 48 minutes. And we paid for the war with what we've taken out many, many, many times. Where have you heard that before? You haven't heard that before. It's the old-fashioned way, right? That's the old-fashioned way. To the victor belong the spoils, right? And we're doing the same thing, by the way, in the lovely Islamic Republic of Iran. We're knocking the hell out of it. Knocking the hell out of it. I'd rather make a deal, because I don't want to kill people. I do not want to kill people. But at some point, we're gonna. We were set for the biggest attack of any attack, and we've hit them very hard for the last few months. But we were all set for the biggest attack since World War II. And they called me, and they said, please don't do it, let's talk. And then they said, we never said that. You know what? The fake news knows they did say that. But we are talking, let's see what happens. But they respect us. They respect us. It's been 47 years, but really it's been 50 years because they've been saying 47 for 3 years. It's been 50 years. And no other president has done what you should have done a long time ago, because Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Can't have it. But just last week, Kamala Harris called for eliminating the Electoral College. And she said she wants to pack the Supreme Court, and the number is 23 justices. We have 9. She wants Marxist judges who all stick together. You know, the Republican judges or justices don't stick together. They don't stick together. But these 3 people that they have, they're like glue. They never veer. And in many ways, I respect that. I must tell you, they're horrible for our country. It's too bad they're on. A couple of them just don't belong. I'd like to fire them. I'd fire them if I could. I'm just responding for the meeting. I'm just responding to them. They'll say, Trump wants to fire the judges. That'll be the... No, I'm just responding. I'm just responding. The man said, fire them, sir, fire them. The Communist platform also calls for legalizing heroin and fentanyl. And by the way, we have no fentanyl coming in by sea anymore, practically. None. Almost none. 97% down. Think of it. Coming by sea. They come by sea. They said, oh, this is so lovely out. They have their little boat loaded up with fentanyl, enough to kill 25,000 people a boat. That's what you have. Ruined families. So you don't feel as bad when you do what we did. But we hit them very hard. And we cut it. It was, you know, for years, people would go out. They'd have the Coast Guard, our great Coast Guard, go out, pull them over, bring them to court. The judge would look at them, let them go. They'd give them a little fine. They'd go back. They'd be on a boat the next day, the next night, doing the same thing. Bing, we hit them. That's it. We're down 97.2%. 97.2. Actually, people are trying to find out who are the 3%, because they are the bravest human beings on earth, okay? Maybe they just don't watch television or read the newspapers. Thank you very much. Thank you. But the radical left wants to ban a thing called gasoline. Gasoline. We have 1,000 years of gasoline, and it's what people prefer. And, you know, I ended the electric mandate. I don't want to talk about it because Elon wasn't exactly thrilled with me, but I had to do it. We love Elon. But I ended because it said that within a very short period of time, like 2030, everybody had to have an electric car, even though there was no way you could charge it. You ever see the signs you're driving along in an electric car? They have a disease. You know, it's a disease. It's called, like, they get screwed up, they're driving, and they realize their battery's getting low, and they start thinking about it when it's 3/4 full. Okay, it loses a little bit. They say, where am I going to? And you're driving down the highway, and you'll see a sign, electric charging station with an arrow, 89 miles to the right. These people are crazy. And I like electric cars. You know, we sell 7% of our cars, despite all of the taxes and all of the things that we gave away, 7%. But the thing is, we have unlimited. We have more gasoline, but we have more oil and gas than any country in the world. Now you add Venezuela to it, add that, and we have 60% of the world's oil and gas, including Venezuela. Think of that. What a great thing. By the way, we have a great relationship, I want to tell you, with Venezuela. They've been great. But the Communist platform calls for full amnesty and voting rights for 25 to 50 million illegal aliens. That's probably why they allow them in, because they want them to vote. And actually, I won the Hispanic vote. Can you believe it? I won the Hispanic vote. So they may have misplayed that. They support allowing American military service members to be arrested, given show trials, and imprisoned by foreign globalist tribunals controlled by our enemies. They allow our soldiers to be arrested and tried in a foreign land and put in jail for the rest of that soldier's life. Doesn't happen anymore. And in Wisconsin, the communists even have a woman who said that the holiday of Thanksgiving should be immediately abolished, and the police only exist to, quote, uphold white supremacy, that the police are there for white person. Think of it. White supremacy. These people are dangerous, and frankly, they're lunatics. They're crazy, and we can't let them get into office. Communism is the greatest threat to our country in its history, including even World War I, World War II, Pearl Harbor, 9/11. I think it's the greatest threat. I could be the greatest communist in history. I tell everybody here, would you like a free house? We'll take one from your neighbor. Would you like free rent? We'll take it from whoever. We'll take your building away from the landlord that makes 2%, and we'll run the building ourselves. What they don't say, and what Republicans should say, is that at the end of a year, you'll have nothing but death, squalor, poverty. You'll have a life of hell. And that's what happens every single time. You look at Venezuela, where it was such a rich country 20 years ago, 22 years ago, and it happened, and we've really helped them, and we're going to help them. But, you know, they're lucky because they're sitting on massive oil reserves, but we are going to help the people that we want to help. But every time this has happened, and you do that, you go through squalor, and add the word again, filth, crime, death, destruction, embarrassment. You lose your home, you lose your apartment, and that's where the communists will take us 100%. When I watch Abdul, he's full of shit. So, if you remember, during my State of the Union speech from a little while ago, I made a very strong statement. I said that America will never be a socialist country. And I was right. What I didn't say is what they're trying to do. They want to skip socialism. They want to go right down to the bottom of the barrel. That's communism. They want it to be a communist country. We're not letting them have it as a communist country, not even for a minute. Not even for a minute. Together we will defeat communism, socialism, and Marxism in America once and for all. It's defeated. It's going to go down. It always goes down, but sometimes it takes a lot of people with it. It takes too long. You got to nip it in the bud. The Democrat communists in Congress claim to stand for working people, but every single one voted against our tax cuts. They voted against securing the border. They wanted open borders. The Democrats voted against securing the border. They want to raise your taxes to levels that you've never had to pay before. Remember this. They want to raise your taxes. You know, all my life I've been watching politics, and I never knew I'd be doing this. Who the hell ever thought I'd be doing it? But all my life I've been watching, and every politician, Democrat, Republican, they always said, we will cut your taxes, even if they didn't have any intention of doing it. They always say it. You know, I said, that guy is lying. He's not telling the truth. But I'd watch, we will cut your taxes. These guys say we will raise your taxes. They say we're going to raise your taxes. I never heard of anything. And then they actually get votes. The whole thing is crazy. But they voted against no tax on tips. They voted against no tax on overtime. They voted against no tax on Social Security. But when I say voted against, 100% there wasn't one Democrat that voted in favor of these incredible things like voter ID and proof of citizenship. They voted against that, even though the actual Democrats, think of it, the Democrats want it. You know who doesn't want it? The politicians, because they'll never get elected again. If you had fair and strong elections, they would lose 25% of their base. They would never be elected again. And I'm trying to explain that to Republicans, but some of them don't quite understand it. They don't understand it because they're good people. They're good people. They don't know how crooked these people are. I've dealt with a lot of crooked people in my life. They don't know how bad these people are. We got to get the Republicans to be tougher, especially in the Senate, especially in our Senate. Got to get the senators in there. They got to be tough. But they voted in favor of the transgender mutilization of your children. And they voted in favor of men and women's sports. Can you imagine? But while the Democrat communists are voting to destroy America, we're making our country safer, stronger, far more successful than it has ever been before. It's more successful than it's ever been before. One of the most important parts of our great, big, beautiful bill is the Trump accounts, giving every child a tax-free investment. It's an account, and it's really giving them a head start on the American dream, so that, and it's become overwhelmingly, close to 8 million people have already been signed up. Every newborn baby gets $1,000 deposited in their Trump account at birth. That's right out of the federal government. $1,000, you baby, $1,000. And generous individuals like Michael and Susan Dell Computer, go out and buy a Dell computer. Brad Gerstner, Micron, Apple, so many companies. They go out there spending billions and billions of dollars. Michael and Susan put up $6,250 million, and now he wants to do it again. He says it's the greatest thing he's ever done. It's great. And others. We have a man, he's taken over the state, all the children. He's putting in the state of Indiana, great state, putting $1,000 into all of these young children. Think of it. A child, in many cases, they're born into pretty close to poverty, or they're poor. They don't have money. They start off with $1,000, and it's going to duplicate, and they can end up with $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 if the market. Oh, the market, what, like for the last year, if the market, you'd end up with $1 million. But let's not count on that, because other people will take my place and they'll screw it up 100%. But think of what you're doing for those children, you know, that have no money at all at 18. And now they'll have hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's a great thing and very popular. And that's all because of the great, big, beautiful bill. We had to get that approved. And again, not one Democrat, the only way we could do it, we had to get a unified Republican Party, because we didn't get one Democrat vote for the great, big, beautiful bill where these children are given $1,000 at birth. We couldn't get them to vote. You know why? Because they thought it was a great idea. They wish they thought of it. You know why? Because they have Trump derangement syndrome. That's why. Because they're sick. There's something wrong with them. Remember at the State of the Union when I was saying, you know, introducing a great war hero, 104 years old, he fought in World War II and this, and they sat like they never moved. I introduced the helicopter pilot who was so brave he had his leg practically shot off in Venezuela, landing the troops in Venezuela, big Chinook helicopter, loaded up with many, many troops. I'm not supposed to say how many, but a lot. And it had to land in a certain spot, or the whole thing could have been a Jimmy Carter disaster. You remember that? We don't want Jimmy Carter disasters. We don't have that. And he's landing, this good, handsome guy. You saw him, got the Congressional Medal of Honor. We gave it to him. But But remember, I introduced him, told him how brave he was. His leg was practically shot off because it was shot from underneath a machine gun, from right underneath the helicopters. It was very close to the ground, and he kept it going. And they ended up getting this. He turned it, and the snipers got him. Oh, the whole thing was crazy. But that they can do this is incredible. So I'm presenting him with he saved all those lives and made this attack. We went in and got Maduro. Within 30 minutes, the whole thing was over. It was in a military base with thousands of soldiers. 219 guys went in, and a few women, by the way, tough. They're tougher than any of the men sitting in the front row, and I know those men. They went in, and they got him. They got Maduro. They got his wife because she was as bad as him, and they took him out, and he was protected by steel doors. This is the middle of a military base. This was all steel. What they did is incredible. So I'm introducing him for the Congressional Medal of Honor, and the Republicans and everybody else in the room stands up, and they're going wild. Just a very brave guy. No, they say people that fly helicopters, because you fly them with your feet, more or less. And here's a guy with a leg that's practically falling off. And so I'm introducing him, and the Republicans go on. The Democrats, remember, just sat like this. Remember? But something happened because they were getting killed. Every person I introduced was the same. The mother of the young girl from North Carolina who had her throat slit from the back by an animal because the governor allowed that guy to be free. The governor, who's now running for the Senate, that man should not be able to be elected. Vote for Michael Whatley, by the way, he's great. The governor allowed that animal, and he cut her from behind, cut her neck like nothing. She was almost dead immediately. It's on tape. It's on tape, and the thing takes forever to try. Can you imagine? Here it is on tape. They'll probably find a good reason. They get some nice liberal lawyer to say, he was badly abused. He should go free, you know. But think of it. Think of it. Think of how sick these people are to let a guy like that out, and they shouldn't allow that governor. You know, that was worse than Willie Horton. You remember Willie Horton? This was Willie Horton, modern day. And that guy, that governor, shouldn't be allowed to run for governor because crime in North Carolina under him went through the roof. And he shouldn't be allowed. Michael Whatley should be your governor. But we're pleased to be joined today by two loving parents, Sandra and Brad, from right here in Las Vegas, two great people. Sandra's a waitress in a nearby casino. Maybe we'll get her a job over here. And Brad is a hard-working Las Vegas metropolitan police officer. And together they save thousands of dollars thanks to no tax on tips and no tax on overtime. And they're investing their money into Sandra's education and Trump accounts, where they just bought Trump accounts for their two young children. So Sandra and Brad, please come up, wherever you may be. Please come up. Come on up. Don't worry about Secret Service. Come on up. That's great. That's a beautiful family. Oh, great. Please say something. It's my honor.
Thank you. It's truly an honor. It's truly an honor to stand here before you and speak. Sorry, excuse me. I have a little mom brain going on right now. I'm so sorry. No, he's going to take off. Thank you. Thank you. Truly, thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
It's an honor to be here today. Thank you so much for all that you've done enacting these policies that help our family and the families of millions of hardworking Americans. Thank you.
Thank you.
I've worked in the service industry for 15 years when I first moved here to this beautiful city of Las Vegas. I had 3 jobs working for tips. Working for tips has been my livelihood, and policies like these are truly incredible. Yes, thank you, sir. Every dollar saved truly helps. Mr. President, thank you. And it all goes to them. You know, they're truly my why, my kids. Every dollar counts with children, and we're so grateful for the ability to open the Trump accounts for ours. We're gifted the very generous contribution, the $1,000, and able to start the same for my son. And he did want to say a little something to you, Mr. President.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for my Trump account. Thank you. Thank you for all that you're doing, Mr. President. Thank you. It's truly an honor.
You did a good job.
Thank you so much.
And you did.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's truly an honor.
Thank you. Be careful.
Thank you.
Bye, honey. Take care of Mom. Take care of Mom, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. It's so nice. Also with us is a foreman with the Teamsters Local 631, Curtis King. Curtis works 96 hours a week and earns 65% of his income from overtime. When he filed taxes this year, he expected that he'd owe over $11,000 instead of going back, and he didn't know what to do. And Curtis, why don't you come up and tell your story real quickly, if you could. Come on up here, Curtis. I love the Teamsters. Come on up here, Curtis.
To the unions. We don't all get tips, no. But we do work long hours, hard hours. 96 hours a week, yeah, most of the times I'm not up on current affairs. I don't have a clue what's going on the planet. But I can tell you what's going on in Las Vegas. I can tell you where the shows are. I can tell you we fill the beds in this city. And we love every minute of it. And I thank you for allowing us to keep this money that we work so hard for. Yeah, I just gone through a divorce and given up everything, but the fact that I got so much back on my taxes, I still was able to buy a new house. Put her in one, too. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Curtis. Now, we're also pleased to be joined by many Nevada patriots, including your Governor, Joe Lombardo. He's done a good job. Joe, come up real fast. Come on up here, Joe. Come on up, Joe.
Well, you get to see me twice in one day. So, you know what? I just want to build on what the president has been opining about here in the last 4 hours. He cares about America, right? You know, quite often when the press and the media runs him down, they think about, you know, he's taking care of his billionaire friends. But those billionaire friends provide jobs. And unless you take care of them, those jobs are absent. And the government doesn't have the ability to hand out infinite amounts of money. That's not how economies work. That's why they're pushing socialism so hard. But President Trump has changed that whole mindset. And America is that much greater because of his efforts. And it's not lost on me, no tax on tips benefits more people in the state of Nevada than anywhere else in the United States. So when people talk to me about Donald Trump, I'm proud to say he loves Nevada. And you love him too, right? There you go. So I'm going to leave you with this. Remember what I said on my way out earlier. Get out to vote. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Joe. And thanks to all of the true warriors. And I tell you, we have some great people. Adriana Guzman Freilich, your candidate for Attorney General, is doing fantastically well. Thank you, Adriana. A very special man. I wish you'd get him in office because he's incredible. I've known him so long, and he's got to get in. He just has to. He had a big victory, just a really big victory with spending very little money because everyone respects him. Jim Marchant, he's a candidate for Secretary of State. David Flippo, candidate for Congress, who's doing really well. Thank you, David. Marty O'Donnell, candidate for Congress, who I hear is doing incredibly. Thank you. Thank you, Marty. Good job. State Senator Carrie Buck, candidate for Congress. Thank you, Carrie. And let me also recognize the CEO and chairman of Red Rock Resorts, Frank Fertitta, and his brother, Lorenzo. They are amazing. And their families are incredible. Beautiful family. Perfect. They have perfect everything. They have beautiful families, I can tell you. And my really good friend, who I mentioned before, Phil Ruffin, and his incredible wife, Alexandra. Please stand up, Phil. And a handsome actor named Dean Cain, who's been with us from the beginning. Right from the beginning, Dean. Thank you, Dean. And a Las Vegas icon, and he's a big television sensation. His show went on, it did great. Rick Harrison. Rick, thank you. Been a long time, too. And a friend of mine, and he was with me in good times and bad times, and I've been with him in good times and bad times. But he's a fantastic person. I actually went to his Broadway show, and everybody smiled at him doing a Broadway show, and he was actually fantastic. I've seen a lot of Broadway shows, and he was fantastic. The legendary Mike Tyson. Thank you, Mike. Beautiful wife. Great couple. Thank you, Mike. Thank you both for being here. Under the Trump administration, Nevada is prospering. Again, you're prospering like you haven't done in many, many years. And America is winning again because we're once again putting America first. It's very simple. We're putting our country first. Every single day, we're liberating our communities from the scourge of migrant crime. You saw what happened last week in Spain, where 60,000 migrants stampeded against the border, invaded and occupied the town, attacked innocent citizens, and rioted in the streets. And that's what communists want for America. That's what they were doing to us. Frankly, as bad as that looked, and it looked bad, what they did to us during Biden was worse, and they want to do it again. They want to do it again. The people of Nevada aren't going to let it happen, and your president's not going to let it happen. And so important. And again, we have the strongest border in the history of our country. But right here in Las Vegas, ICE recently arrested an illegal migrant who brutally stabbed and tried to murder his two roommates. He was violent. In Lyon County, ICE arrested an illegal alien convicted of 2 counts of sexually assaulting a child. He was vicious as you could be. The police almost didn't, and they are great. Our law enforcement, we have to have a hand for law enforcement. They said this was so bad, they almost didn't know what to do, but they did know they take them away. That's why under the Trump administration, we will always stand with ICE and Border Patrol and law enforcement. We will always stand strong with law enforcement. And we're also kicking all of these millions of illegal aliens off of our welfare. And it's part of the war on fraud led by our great Vice President, J.D. Vance. He's doing a great job. And as illegal aliens go home, the cost of rent, groceries, and other staples is coming down very fast. Our costs are coming way down. You know, they talk about affordability. I took over the country. The prices were through the roof. In my first day, the press said, what are you going to do about affordability? It was a word they devised, affordability. No, they never used that word before. They said eggs are way too high, 4 times higher than they were in my administration. I said, tell me about eggs. Give me a little description of what you... I was there one day. I had just won the election. It was January 21st, one day after I gave one day where I didn't do a press conference. Biden would go a whole year without doing a press conference for obvious reasons, for very obvious reasons. But we've been bringing down prices. And as soon as this situation ends with Iran, oil is going to go down to the floor, gasoline's going to go down, and we will have completed something in a short period of time that is a miracle. But remember, we inherited the worst inflation in the history of our country. You got to remember that. And we took it over. What a mess it was. And we're bringing down prices, and we brought down prices, and nobody can believe what's going on. And when oil goes down, and it's going to go down very rapidly, and it's happening very soon, already happening. If you look, today it's $75 down to $75. It's dropping. And we may have to send it up again. We may have to. You know what happens when we send it up, but we hope we don't have to. But when that oil and gasoline go down, everything else follows. But we've done a great job in reducing prices, and we've done an unbelievable job in making our country really, really respected and successful again. But under my most favored nation policy on drug prices, just to finish up, we're delivering the largest prescription drug price cuts in the history of our country, with price differences of 400, 500, and 600%. You know, my first term, I was the only president that over a one-year period, I got the prices down. They came down a little bit from January to the end of December. And I'll tell you how much they came down, 1/8%. Now you hear price differences of 500, 600, 700%. That alone should win us the midterms, because that has an impact on everything. And the Democrats will go back to the policies they gave you. We had the highest prices for prescription drugs of any country in the world, and now we have the lowest because of one person, happens to be the President of the United States. And in just 18 months, we've turned this country completely around. Our border is secure. Jobs are up. Inflation is down. Investment is pouring in like never before. Factories are opening. Our military is more powerful than it has ever been. America is back, and our greatest victories are still to come. We are having victory, and we're going to keep it that way, victory after victory. And with the help of our Republican majorities in Congress, we will crush violent crime, impose harsh new penalties on dangerous repeat offenders, crack down on Marxist prosecutors and rogue judges who are a horror show for our country. And we will end the thing that probably started this big crime wave, no cash bail. No cash bail. We will pass the Great Health Care Plan. It's called the Great Health Care Plan, to stop all payments to big insurance companies and give the money directly to the people. They give billions and billions of dollars because the big health insurance companies and insurance companies, they're totally controlled by the Democrats. We want to give the money not to the insurance companies, but to the people, and you go out and you buy your own health care, and you have money left over. You have better health care and money left over. And finally, we will pass the Save America Act to defend American elections. Thank you. Thank you. Remember, we didn't have one Democrat vote, not one for that, not one. All voters must show photo ID. All voters must provide proof of citizenship. And hopefully at a later date, there'll be no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military deployment, or travel. And we will also enshrine in permanent law no men and women's sports and no transgender surgery on our children. So, ladies and gentlemen, and you are indeed great people. You're the people that built our country. But ladies and gentlemen of Nevada, the golden age of America is upon us. We're in the golden age. We're doing things that nobody ever thought possible. And together with your help and patriots all across this magnificent land have been so unbelievable in what's taken place. You're part of it's a miracle. What's taken place is, some people call it a miracle. We call it good government. But we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Nevada. Thank you very much. We love you. God bless you. God bless you.